Hi, I'm back. I'm Jill with Copycat Crafts, and we're going to pick up where we left off, and that is starting our brand new series on making this folio. So, if you really thought this was cool, then this will be the series for you. I'm hoping it's not going to be like 199 videos. No, it won't. I'm hoping, you know, maybe 4 or 5. But but today I thought we would concentrate on just what I call the base, the kind of the 3 pieces, but not the 3 pieces, just the long piece. And to do that, we need 2 pieces put together. And in the back, this goes up front, in the back where I put them together, I overlapped them so that we had a pocket. Let me just get a tag, which I already cut out all the tags for this. I just didn't ink them. So there's a large pocket here. You don't have to make one that large if you don't want. You could make it larger. However, you will need a certain length in order to make the 3 parts. The front, the back, and then underneath this. 1, 2, 3 parts. So, we're going to get started on that. I cut the borders off all of my cardstock, and I printed everything on, it's 110 pound, I think, and or 199 GSM. That's, I feel it's pretty thin. So for all the tags and things like that, I doubled it. I printed one with nothing on the back, and then I printed just a blank sheet on a separate, and I glued them together. When I do the numbers, it's actually still cheaper to glue 2 pieces together rather than try to buy extra heavy duty cardstock. And when you're putting a folio together, at least the way I do, because I stack the pieces, they end up really, holding their own. They become very sturdy. Now in the front, this piece here, it's 1 piece here and then a large pocket. So this whole section is actually doubled. So it's pretty sturdy. It's pretty sturdy. And I'm going to have to be referring to this one a lot because when I made this one, I didn't take notes. I had no plan. Just made it. Just went with it. So anyway, this is just a piece of paper. I printed it out just to show you. Every piece I have here had a border around it, and I trimmed off the border. I'm not able to find where I can print borderless. If you can, go for that if you want. I can't. So the other thing I did was some of the pages, I printed all the pages I printed double, and I just winged it. I just, whatever was opposite of whatever. There was no rhyme or reason. The thing I did pay attention to was, I knew I wanted some pages that when you look at it, the numbers are correct. And when you flip it up, the numbers are still correct. So when I have a piece to flip up, you're still looking at it correctly. And when I have a piece to flip down, you're still looking at it correctly. I don't know if you can see that. So I printed 3 like that. So when you're looking at the number flipped up, you can see it correctly. And when you put it down, you can see it correctly. My allergies, of course, my allergies are acting up. So please excuse me if I should sneeze or something. If I sound a little funny, a little stuffy. The other sheets I printed, so that when I flip them over, they're still right side up. So the numbers are correct, and then when you flip it over, the numbers are still correct. That's just me. You can print it any way you want. I just like to do that. I did print just a couple extra pages with nothing on the back, just in case I want to add a pocket or something you're not going to see the back. Didn't print on the back. And then I always print, which I did use them, like 3 or 4 sheets of just blank paper for the tags and file folders or something that you're going to see the back of. So I have all them. I did try to sort of pick my layout. So this is what I did. I picked the piece that when it is like this is going to be my cover, which is why it says front cover. My front cover will measure 5 inches by 7 1/4, I think, 7 1/4. That is because once I trimmed the border off, that was whatever I was left with, that's what I kept. And then my front will be 5 inches. Now, I wanted a slightly larger spine, so I scored for 1 inch, which I will show you. I got my big scoreboard. So after you pick your paper, I don't want to confuse it. Pick the paper that you want your front cover. But you're going to be scoring backwards because your front cover is going to lay out flat. Measure your 5 inches. So I measured my 5 inches. Then I scored for 1 inch. I just scored every little tick line there was for 1 inch. So that way you kind of get this rounded, curvy type spine. That's what I wanted. This will be the inside of the center panel. This will be the outside, the back. So this is the piece that I ripped. So I'll show you here. That will be this piece. I'm going to rip this. Once I rip it, I will decide where I want it on the back. This one measures 3 inches. I may not want this one to be a whole 3 inches because the more you can let overhang of your second piece, the bigger or longer this flap will be, because this flap is what this will be when this hangs over, like that. So you want to pick your 2 papers to make your one long 3-piece base. So that's what we're going to work on right now. Like I said, I picked this one and I put front cover so that I'm not confusing myself. Over here I put center and the back pocket. And over here is this little piece will be the small flap. And this will be the last portion, which has to come out to 5 inches in order for it to fold, or less, a little less. So when I score over here as well, on this one, I made a tiny score on this one. It's only about a 1/4 inch or a little less. I'm going to definitely do 1 extra tick line over here. So since I made this spine part a little bit wider, and I'm going to make this spine part a little bit wider, I want to not make my pocket 3 inches like I did on the other one. Okay, so since I already have this one scored and it's marked, there's my front. I'm going to take off these. And this is the part, if I flip it over, it's going to go like this, and this is the part I'm going to rip. So I try to rip as small a piece because you're not going to see it, how much you rip off. Just rip it off. I like mine to be very, go this way, very natural and ripped looking. You don't have to. You can cut it, make it straight. You can rip it at a bigger angle. You can do whatever you want. I'm just going to throw that away. Then this will get glued. Like I said, my original one is 3 inches at the widest point. I think I'm going to go perhaps 2.5, but I'm not going to glue it yet. I'm just kind of getting a feel. And the reason I'm not going to glue it yet is because I would have to ink it, and we'll get to that. I'm just showing you. Okay, so this piece I want about 2.5. So it would go about like that. That way I would have a 2.5 almost, because this will have glue on it. I can even make that a little shorter, smaller if I wanted, but since my other one was 3, I'll stick right around 2.5, maybe a little less, but like that. Then it will get glued, only it will be even. So then that will be my pocket. That's when you have to turn it back over. Then you measure 5 inches, a hair under 5 inches, a hair under 5 inches, because it's going to fold in. Well, this part will fold in, and you want it all to tuck under this 5 inches. So literally you want the back to be 5 inches. Okay, so this is the back. This is what we want to ink if you're inking. So it's easier to ink it now, and I did ink the score lines just so that you could really get a good look of and see them. Now I'm using quite a dark, I'm using ground espresso. I wanted something dark that would really hold up to the darkness of the paper. So I'm just gonna ink this, and I am a very aggressive inker, so I'm hoping I'm not hurting your ears. I should probably just get out my little inking mat. I didn't want to take up too much time inking, but I can't. It's much easier. Not that I can't ink it once it's glued, but it's certainly way easier to glue it. To ink it before. So that's what we're doing. All right, and then just want to get all the white covered here. Just going to ink to there, because when it comes to this side, it's going to be like that. This side's going to fold in. I am going to round these corners, and I am going to round these corners. So I'm just going to move this down. I'm just going to move this down a little bit, because I really don't want to confuse myself. I want to make sure that I remember this is my cover. And goes to the back. So now I am going to measure just the 2.5, and then that is where I'm going to glue. Doesn't have to be a scientific measurement. It's give or take a centimeter or two, doesn't matter, but it's right around there. So I'm not even going to mark it. Well, yeah, I guess I should mark it. Oh, okay, we are marking. Okay, right there. So now I want to put glue here and here and here. And I just want to make sure before I do that, I might ink right there and down here. So just get those edges. And I usually ink, even if you're not going to see it, just because it's then cohesive. Sometimes a little bit peeks out, and trying to get ink on it or in it then is a little bit difficult. Okay, so there it is. There's my little mark. I'm going to put glue. I'm going to use my glue that I can move around a little, but it's actually better if you can to use one of the white tacky glues that grab, but if I do that, then when I get it on crooked, and I will, and then I can't move it, so we are doing it this way. Okay, just gonna guesstimate here, and then we're just gonna guesstimate here a little bit. All right, gonna lay it down right at my mark. If there's any that we need to trim off the bottom, and a lot of times there is, because we I don't cut them at the same time, so I'm just cutting them with my paper trimmer. So I usually have that tiny bit, oops, sorry, that tiny bit to trim. So sometimes it, make sure I'm there. So we'll just have to trim that piece off. And I like to really make sure that that gets set on. Okay, so from the end of this score line over to here is 5 inches. Then there's an inch. So now from the end of this score line over, I want it to be 5 inches. So, and the reason is also I want to put my score lines for this little spine. Right now we've glued the pocket on. We have our front cover, but not our flip. That comes later. We just did this pocket. We're going to fold this end over, but we need score lines. And I did like about a 1/4 inch here. I want to do one extra tick, just a little extra. Nothing super huge, but a little. And it does create, until we get it all folded up, it's kind of long, so bear with me. All right, so my last score mark, we want to go 5 inches, and I'm just going to put my score mark at my pencil mark at 5 inches. Bottom doesn't matter. And I'm going to round these corners. I'm going to round them now, and I'm going so that it just helps as a visual to know what end is what. And I used the medium, and I will use the medium on this end, but I'll wait till we fold it. Okay, so now you can pick, there's my mark where that I want to start scoring. Pick any number to start. Okay, I'm going to score every tick line. Okay, now that is a 1/4 inch right there. From 5 to here is a 1/4 inch. We're going to go an extra tick line, and then our papers will go between our tick lines. I mean, yeah, between our score lines there, and then over here, which we will have another score, because this will get kind of folded in. We want room for bulk, and then the same here. We want room for extra bulk. This one does have plenty of room, but I wanted a little extra room. So now we have these. Now this one, I'm just going to maybe put, I don't know, because this pocket's extra glued on. That's just glued on. So this is just the one that folds over. And that's just to keep tags under there. So we don't need more than one score mark. So from our, let's see, I'm going to put ink on these so we can see them. And it does help, I think, if you have something semi-round to put it on. That way I can rub ink all over my score line so you can see it. Okay. So I'm just using my little glue bottle. My sacrificing. Okay, and there you go. Now you can see it. Keep it in the right spot. I'm just gonna gently put a little ink on this so that you can sort of get a visual of where the score marks are here. There's really no other reason, but just so you can sort of see. There's my score marks there. Okay, front cover, back. This will get folded in, and then we have, I'm just going to crease these a little bit, and then we're going to do our scores. Our score mark over here, once we know where we need it. So from this score line, actually I think I'm supposed to go from the center on this one. So now we're going to go, I'm going to say the center of the score line. So we have, if you can see, 3 wide, really wide score. The score is actually in between them, but we're going to go to that center wide one. We're going to come over here. Where did I, oh, there it is. Okay, got my pencil, and I want it a hair in from the 5. So from that mark over, that will be my little fold. And having extra score marks on both of these gives us wiggle room and fill up room. So gotta love that. So we're gonna put that score mark, the pencil mark, on any number, and take this off. Once I score it, we will know where we are. Okay, so score, give it a little bend, I'm gonna put a little ink on it so we can see it. This side doesn't have to be too dark. And little ink on this side. Okay. Yep, like I'm grungy. Okay. Now, again, anywhere that it doesn't quite meet, we are going to trim. So, okay, again with the medium and the medium. And now we have our base. This gets folded in, this gets folded in, this gets folded over. We now have our base. Easy peasy. Can take off all our markings because it's fairly self-explanatory at this point. Okay. Now, I already picked this piece to be my flip up, which is why with the numbers that way, then you flip them up, the numbers will be that way. So there's nothing special about this piece. I have many other pieces. I can trade them. It's just I did pick this one as my front flip for now, but that doesn't get put on till later. And so I could change my mind. Okay, so that part I just showed you is this part. All right. Now, I kind of did one section at a time. So if I did the middle section first, but that just makes it a little harder to deal with because I didn't put any Velcro or anything to hold it down. And this one I did, right here's Velcro. So we're gonna start, I believe, with this side. I did 3 waterfalls. This piece back here is extra. I cut this piece out, which is why it's really thick, and glued it right up to that first score line. And the reason I wanted that on there, not only for the extra thickness, is because I glued the hinge down back behind that. So I cut slits in the paper and slid these pocket hinges down behind it. And then this was just a pocket glued on just like that. Just because I loved that piece. Okay. You can have as many waterfall things as you want. I wanted a good, inch or so in between because I wanted to put tabs. But you can have 4 or 5. You can even skip this part and put another waterfall piece in, or you can have 3 like I do, and I'm probably just going to do another 3. This piece actually has a piece of material on it. I don't know if you can see the material, and the material wraps over, and I also cut and put it behind this piece. You don't have to do that. You could put it over the whole thing because we don't have this piece on yet, but I put a slit in the paper at the very top and slid it in, and there's material right over that edge, so this is actually more protected with that material. So it's not really, the paper is not the hinge, the material is the hinge. And on this tab, I put extra cardstock, round cardstock on the inside, so it was extra heavy duty. So we're going to work on this part. So in order to do that, we're going to want to, if you're rounding, round your corners. If you're inking, just ink it a little bit right now. Can always come back later, but some of these edges, once you put a piece onto this side, your edge might be a little bit harder to ink, so might as well get it done now. Then you want to, your measurements might be different from my measurements, especially if you print borderless. You're wide open, you could make it as big or as small as you want. But my measurements are going to be, and I did write them down somewhere, but I thought it's on one of these, but yes. Okay, so I have obviously 5 inches, whoop, from my score mark right there to there. Then this one, I'll probably have to count. I should put my scoreboard away. Okay, so it is 7 1/4. Actually, it's a hair past that. Okay, so those are my measurements. So I'm going to need a piece that will fit over here. It actually covers all that. Shame, but it is what it is. And you can pick now if you want to go with, is this one to flip up? No. Okay, so you can pick now if you want to go with something totally contrasting. It's up to you, and it depends what papers you have. Maybe you're doing one in florals or whatever. This is your folio. Okay, so I'm just going to mark it. You don't want it right on that score line because you want to be able to use that score bend if you need it. So I'm going to go just a hair, not right up to it. So if this is the piece I'm putting there, and just trying to make sure I'm not grabbing this one, actually. What's on this side? Yeah, I think I'll grab a different. Yeah, I think I'll grab this one. Yes, yes, something different. How does this one? Same, okay. You know, I don't, like I said, when I print these out, I don't super plan ahead. I just grab and print and grab and print and pick and print. I'm not, it's more random for me. All right, let me put my scoreboard away and get my paper trimmer out. And since I don't want to make my videos too long, I'd rather do a few more videos and make them easier to follow, or you know, not as overwhelming. It can be a little overwhelming if you aren't used to making folios the way I do. Okay, so this was the piece. Go here. I'm gonna round the corners. And the reason I didn't wait till this is down is because my corner rounder won't go through 2 of these easily at all. I have to fight with it, and then I feel bad, and oh, I picked one that's less. Okay, I won't be using this one because it's actually less, and there's a reason for that. I won't get into it. There's a reason for it, though. And it's all because I don't want to look through my printer settings because I'm lazy. It's not that I'm lazy. I just know me, and I know I will mess it up. I know I will mess up my settings, and once I mess up my settings and I don't have the ability to print, I have no one to help me unmess it up. Funny story, way back in the 80s when we got our first computer, early 80s, we got our first computer, and it was this giant white elephant of a computer. I mean, you remember, they almost needed their own room, and we bought it from Sears, and it was huge, and everyone kept telling me, you cannot mess it up. Even the person at Sears, the salesperson, oh, he made me sit down, and he was just closing his eyes and pressing buttons. He said, you cannot mess it up. You cannot mess it up. And I was like, okay, if I can't mess it up, this one I can turn if I want. And I think I will. And I thought, great, I can't mess it up. We got it home, and we had, our kids were small. Our son and our daughter were pretty young. And elementary school. Don't quite remember the age, but they were pretty young. And I give them the whole spiel. Oh, dear, you cannot mess it up. The guy at the store, he had his eyes closed and was pushing all the buttons. You can't mess it up. So they're like, okay, can we get on? And we're like, yeah, go for it. And in about 20 minutes, we had such a messed up computer. They erased things or deleted, like it came with certain downloaded programs already in it, more for keeping your house finances, and loads of games. I don't know if you remember that, but loads of games. Those stupid games. I'm not a gamer. But fishing, hunting, you name it, we had, I don't know how many games, but they came with some preloaded on there. And yeah, so much for you can't mess it up. There's nothing you can do that can't be undone. Wrong. And I did the same thing with my first smartphone, my second smartphone actually. Everyone just says, just play with it, get used to it. Well, oh yeah, yes I did. Okay, so now the first piece I cut, that was a little short. I'm not sure if that was it. Still looking for it. I would like to use, okay, so now I have these that I can make the pockets out of, and I would like to use, yeah, I'd like, since this has blue on it, I'd like to use not something with not blue. So I'm gonna make my pockets out of this. Now I made my pockets short because I wanted tabs, but I could have made it longer. So maybe this one I'll do a little bit slightly longer ones. So that's I think what I'll do. So what were my original, let's see what my original ones were. Okay, so they were 3 inches. They were 3 inches by, what was it, almost 3.5. I think if I added I think I did cut them 3.5, and then till I scored and bent the hinge part of it. So we're going to go with let's see, those were 3, so we're gonna go with, let's look on this one, how far do I want to go actually. Those are 3. I don't want to go to 4 because of the tab, but if I go to 3.5. We're going to do 3.5. Okay, so 3.5. Well, I don't need to mark it because I'm going to put them on my trimmer. And we're going to do 3.5. And I'm going to do 3 again. So here's my cutoff. Here's for my pocket. Just want to see, because wherever I put my let's go this way, it won't be big enough. That will get folded under, and I don't think I just want gray. Right, I'm gonna go this way. 3.5. If you have a cutter that would cut all 3 at one time, that actually is really nice, because then you are guaranteed to have them all the same size. Otherwise, they can get a hair different. Okay, so 3.5. This was the piece that was too short, and I already cut the edges, so we did not waste it. Okay. Here's our 3 pockets, and when I folded mine, I folded them with a little bit over, it's probably about 1/4 inch. I scored it there, or you don't have to, and you could do a little bit more. It depends how wide you want your pocket, because that is the piece then that I cut a slit and I slide that piece in, and then it folds down. So let's just say, measure how, just want to get, like, you can make this hinge as big as you want. So if I go, I see I don't have my ruler straight. Okay, so that would be 1/4 inch. Okay. And I fold my pocket. So that is where I'm going to score, and then that is what will get bent under, and there would be my pocket. So I'm just going to give that a light thing. Okay, that is not what I want. Okay, do I want that side? Yes. Okay, so it doesn't have to be exact. I'm gonna call that 1/4 inch. Whoop, did it move? It moved a little. No biggie. Okay. Then this one. Quite boring. Okay, I'm going to use this side. This is my process. It takes me a while. It's why sometimes I just get everything prepared and inked and picked out and ready, and then I get on and I just kind of tell you how I did it, and I glue it in. I glue it together because my process is quite long. Okay, now I'm going to move our base out of the way, because this will be the paper that we put our lines in to hide this. But before we do that, we want to find out where we want to do that. So, do we want to do it like this? maybe like this. Yes, I like that. Okay, now we have to decide. I want to leave room to do a closure. Now you do not need a closure. I just put a closure to hold down. I'm pointing, I don't even know if you can see what I'm pointing at. This closure. I want to leave room because I don't want it up at the very top like that. That was nerve-wracking. You don't need a closure though. If you want to skip that part, you can and just do the waterfall. I happen to like a closure. But anyway, and I want to make sure I leave enough room to get the glue to hold down and leave enough room to make sure we have our tab and have it look good. So if I go here, these will be, let's say, about an inch or so. It's probably a little more than an inch. Go like that. How does that look? Off. Okay. Also, I want enough room down at the bottom if you're putting a closure to have a closure. So to make my marks, I'm going to make my marks on the back, the reverse side. They're going to be over here, and it's going to look like, if I start my first one like that, I want to move this one a little bit closer. This one a little bit closer. I think that's closer to the inch anyhow. Yeah, it's 3/4 of an inch. Give it a hair up, the hair up. Okay. I'm just deciding. Sorry if I get quiet. Okay, so this part here, this is the back side. No one's going to see this. So if we put our mark, I'm not even sure if that's, it doesn't even look totally straight, but that's not where we're cutting. I'm going to put my paper, follow the lines here, like this. Okay, then I'm coming over to this side of the line, and I can see it's right here, so it's not even a whole inch down. I'm going to make it 1 inch down, so I'm going to do it there, and I'm going to do it here, and then this is where I'm making my first line. So here and here. Check my line there. There it is. Okay, so this is where I'm going to live with it. Right there. Want it nice and dark. It is hard to see. I'm going to get my little scoreboard. And I'm going to put that up. And I'm going to get my little... And I'm going to score right before my glue mark. So okay, right there's my score. I don't know if you can see that. I'm gonna fold it over that part because that's where I'm gonna glue that. So it will get glued here and here. The bottom's already closed and we want the top open. Now you can put a notch in if you want. I did not, but you can if you want. Now I'm going to do this one. Move it closer to the score mark. Okay. I'm going to fold it right over like that. I am going to bevel the edge, the corners. I think it just makes it easier to slip inside the thin slit that we're going to make. Whoop. Whoop. Don't move. Don't move. Okay. We got it. Put this away. Just gonna give that a little fold. Little fold. Okay. I'm gonna glue them. Okay, so I'm just going to put my glue here. And here. Okay. Okay, and then, oh, wait, I think I'm going to put my thing back in before I get my, okay. I went to let my cat out of her room and stopped the video instead of paused it. So, sorry about that. Okay, so over here we want this glued. And here. Okay. And then this one, the same. Get a little crooked there. Okay. Okay. Close this. Now, we're going to mark that. Yeah, it's over here. We're not gluing these on or anything. It's just to make our marks, because this one will go here, about here. So I want to draw where I want to start the, I might even start it a hair more, maybe. I think that should be okay. Okay. Oh, it doesn't matter which one I use, I guess, does it? So if that one's there, then the next one, there's probably a much better, easier way to do this, but this is how I do it. Okay. So it's got to go up a little bit because we did move the top down. So we're probably back to more of 3/4 of an inch here. So that's where I want to make that line. So if I put that line right there, I'm going to measure that line. So I'm going to measure between my two lines. Okay, and basically it is an inch. So now I'm just going to come down. An inch. And come down an inch. It's really hard to see. Pencil mark, dark paper, late at night at an angle. Okay, come down a tick shorter than a hair. And we will, oh, where's my line? Right there. Okay, give or take. All right, now I just want to measure how far this comes in, because I want my, okay, so basically it's a 1/4 inch. Okay, 1/4 inch. I'm going to want it, yeah, it's a tick past the 1/4 inch. So 1/4 inch. I mean, I'm going to line them up when I put the first one down and line the second one up to it, because of cutting them all at a different time. They may be just a hair off, so it's just, I want a kind of a guide. So there will be our one mark, there will be our second mark, and then I just want to go to the center one. And when I make my lines with the straight blade, I can put this down and just cut it with my trimmer. But if most people who don't have a trimmer that they can do that with are going to use a box knife or a craft knife, so that's what I'm going to use. And when I do that, I really want to keep the line cut not much longer than this, because then it just looks sloppy, I think. I'm going to bevel these edges, but we're not going to put them in. I think I'm going to end this video, because you may have to watch it a couple times to get the two pieces put together. You may have to watch it a couple times. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut these lines. I use my you can use any ruler. Any ruler. I have this one from Tim Holtz that has a metal rod in it, and that is the one I'm going to use because, gosh darn, I bought it. Okay, so I'm just trying to see if my line starts here. Just want to make sure I have my edge here. Okay, so to that line. Okay. Didn't start there, I start here. Does that line not look like it goes all the way up? Okay, start here and I end there. Okay. Well, I know why. I want my paper just to help give me a reference. Which line? Oh, I see. I see, I wrote my line there instead of over here. So we'll go right to there. So that's where I want to line up that line with this line as close as I can. And the same down here, as close as I can. Doesn't have to be dead on, but as close as possible. Okay, so now we're going to put that there. And that there. here we go. Big, whoop, big, don't move, Jill. Don't move. Why am I moving? Okay, here we go. Okay, I think that's about, there's our line. Okay, now we're going to do this one. Get it right to there. Okay, so now it goes from here. Okay, I don't know why that looks, how my my pen line got so crooked, I will never know. Whoops. Where is it? Right there. So I have to move it to here. Okay. Probably just should have used a white like marker or something. Okay. There's our lines. Yep. Whoop. Yep. So now these go. I'm just gonna sit it in there because I have to ink everything, so it will sit. Whoop, it will sit in there like that. Whoop, like that. So we will we'll save that, put that together next time. But we have our pockets made. We have to ink them. You want homework? Ink them. Make them and ink them and ink this. And we will put this together, and then we will make the piece to hold it down. If you're not doing a piece to hold it down, that's fine. You could actually put a little piece of Velcro, a little Velcro dot under each one and hold them down separately. But I think I'm going to do that again. So your homework is ink everything we've done so far. So our base, our page, and our 3 pockets. Have everything inked, and I'll probably be back tomorrow. We will finish this up and start on this. Okay, well, happy creating, and see you tomorrow. Hugs.